Jeff, welcome to Floor Talk. It's great to have you on the show today.
It's wonderful to be here, Judy. Thank you.
So, Jeff, as the North America CEO of Philips, you have your finger on the pulse of healthcare, which is the biggest industry in the U.S. So what are you seeing in the industry today?
Truth is, hospitals are under tremendous amounts of strain, and I call it the trifecta on access to care. So first of all, you've got an aging population here in the U.S. with baby boomers, and then that aging population is living longer, which accentuates the need for more care over a longer period of time. Second, you have fewer healthcare workers. I don't actually know if it's a burnout from the pandemic that's just persistent or not, but we have fewer workers entering the healthcare workforce than leaving every single year, which is accentuating that access to care, creating longer lead times for critical diagnostics and treatment. And then third, costs are up. They're up significantly. What you pay in your premium, I pay, and then even people that don't have access to pay premiums because it's just too expensive to go without care. So that access chasm continues to get wider as we go into the future.
Now, Jeff, you're here today at the New York Stock Exchange. You're taking part in an exciting event honoring the Medal of Honor recipients. What's the role that Philips plays in the healthcare of veterans here in the U.S.?
Well, I want to start by saying, Judy, how honoring it is to be even participating and watching what these incredible Americans are doing, not just for themselves. If you talk to them, they're very humble people. They are advocates for all veterans everywhere, and I love that about what they're doing. So we're thankful to participate. But as a veteran, supporting veterans is very personal to me and to Philips. We've been with the VA for over 50 years now, actually 50 plus years, where we've been co-innovating with the VA to deliver great technology solutions. Two quick examples of how we're bringing great care to veterans. We have had for years now remote patient monitoring, where we can actually put a heart monitor for AFib on a veteran, send them back to their home, and if something triggers or something looks abnormal, they get a signal to their doctor calls them proactively. Allows veterans to stay closer to home and the life that they love. Second is the largest telecritical care deployment in the world is with the VHA. So we're actually able to, if you're in an ICU anywhere in the country at a VA hospital, whether you're in Montana or Iowa, you can get real-time bedside access to specialists across the entire VA network at a moment's notice, virtually, but that improves care and outcomes, and we've documented that ability to improve the time veterans are in ICUs, and the time it takes to get them home is much faster. So just two examples.
And tell me, how does AI influence in your work with veterans and active duty military?
If you talk about the trifecta I talked with, the access to care being a big issue, digital capabilities like I just talked about with telecritical care, and AI, like I'll share with you what we're doing with the Department of Defense right now, are really game changers. So just like that tele-ICU where we're improving veteran care, we're taking consumer-based, IoT-enabled biotelemetry devices like my Oura Ring exactly and my Garmin watch. We're taking that sets of data, those biomarker data, and we're layering on top of that generative AI to be able to look for inconsistencies that might lead us to say, well, you have an early onset of a disease or an infection. We documented that during the pandemic. We actually can quantitatively say that we can diagnose an illness 2.3 days before you actually show symptoms. Now put that in a military context today. I'm a soldier. If I'm gonna potentially come down with something in 2 days or COVID, I can be quarantined and isolated because there's a predictive notice to my commander. So that protects the force. If you're on a ship, that's a big deal. Think about it at a broader context. If I'm with highly specialized operations units all over the Middle East, for example, and I want to make sure my force resilience, I can look at the entire dashboard of my fighting force. I can see the strength and the resilience of my warriors, and I'm making decisions in real time about what to do with them based on their characteristics. It's phenomenal what we're able to do today.
So now, Jeff, finally, we have a new U.S. administration in place with lots of changes happening. So how will that administration think about veterans care?
So yeah, interesting, because we've already had an administration that has had an exceptional focus on veteran care, and I'll put it like this: better care sooner for more veterans, right? That was the spirit of the Mission Act, which was enabled in 2019, which actually centralized and allowed veteran choice of whether the best care and the soonest care was in the veteran network or outside the veteran network in community care. I expect, and I've heard Secretary Collins on record saying that he's going to continue to accentuate that with the veteran at the center of care, not the VA, the veteran. That's important because what we're doing is both in private healthcare and in the VA, what we're providing is technology that's enabling care to come out of hospitals. Monolithic old hospitals often cost a lot to maintain, to renovate, and we're actually, because of our digital capability, able to bring diagnostics into whether it's a VA clinic or a commercial clinic or a private hospital clinic, we're able to bring that capability remotely into those clinics with our technology. So a veteran doesn't have to drive as far, they don't have to stay as long, and we can increase access to the veteran community. Now, we're doing it everywhere, but we see that as a great win for veterans.
All right. Well, Jeff, it's been wonderful to talk with you. And thank you for all the amazing work that Philips is doing for our veterans.
We love what we get to do for our veterans. Yeah, thank you for having me.